Dricus Du Plessis claims the UFC are wasting time in promoting Khamzat Chimaev after disappointing withdrawal. Given both Khamzat's frustrating withdrawal from UFC Saudi Arabia last month and the upcoming middleweight title fight in August, champion Dricus Du Plessis argues that fans need to slow down the hype train themselves or be in for yet more disappointment. "I would love to fight Khamzat, nobody's beaten him, and he was almost like the bogeyman of this division," stated Du Plessis. "But let's be honest, I was disappointed that fight didn't happen. Not that surprised, to be honest. I didn't expect it, but you kind of have to at this stage, that is, expect something to happen. I'm feeling sorry for the guy. I know what it feels like. I've been on that side of the area of not being able to fight, and it sucks," admitted Dricus, before arguing that the UFC is wasting their time in trying to push Khamzat into a title shot, especially after such a late-notice fight cancellation. Right now, it just doesn't even make sense to talk about it. You know he hasn't fought one single ranked middleweight, not one, and to put him in that conversation right now seems like we're wasting time. As of July 2024, Khamzat has fought 3 times at middleweight in the UFC. First against John Phillips in his debut, Gerald Meerschaert a few months later, and Kamaru Usman in his most recent fight back in October last year. He's not in the run, and up until he proves that he deserves to be in that run, there's no use in talking about it. Whilst it may be a waste of time talking about Khamzat being in title contention in mid-2024, one man who certainly is in the UFC middleweight title picture is former foe Robert "the Reaper" Whittaker. Alex Pereira's manager hints next opponent for Alex could be another UFC title fight rematch. Following his second-round knockout of former champion Jiří Procházka at UFC 303, Pereira was asked by Joe Rogan whether or not he'd be interested in moving up to heavyweight for his next fight. "I think that's in my future. I said that last time I was here. I say that a lot, but there didn't seem to be too much interest in the organization," Pereira explained via his translator. "But I'm here. I'm available. And I do think that this is in my future. I think the fans have a lot of say in this, whatever they want. In the end, these are the people paying for this, and if this is what they want, it's going to be inevitable." However, Pereira would also push back on the idea of the move taking place for his next fight, acknowledging in a later interview that, "I still have challenges at light heavyweight. I want to keep defending my belt. I want to keep training and showing results." Alex Pereira's manager, Jorge Guimarães, commented under a post by UFC showing Alex Pereira and asking fans to matchmake who his next opponent could be, indicating that Pereira's next opponent could very well be Jan Blachowicz. Interestingly, only a few hours before the post had been shared to Instagram, Blachowicz himself had taken to Twitter to tease a potential fight with Pereira. "I've never lost a rematch, and I won't." Israel Adesanya had to interrupt a question from the media as he campaigned for the City kickboxing team captain, Dan Hooker, to be added to the August 17th event. "Dan Hooker needs to fight on this card. It's atrocious that he's not even here right now," he explained. "I tried to get him here, but he was Sydney last week. But he needs to be on this card. He'll fight anyone, so please, if you want to see this card get stacked even more, put on the Hangman Hooker." When asked who he thinks the UFC should match Hooker up against, Adesanya simply reiterated the fact that the fan-favorite brawler will fight anyone as long as he's given the opportunity to put on a show in front of the RAC Arena crowd. "Hey man, Dan doesn't give a fuck, he just wants to fight. He's not here, right, so he can't speak for himself, so I'll speak for him. Whoever's watching, Sean, Hunter, Dana, Mick, please put Dan Hooker on this card." Chael Sonnen calls out Conor McGregor on X. "If he ever drank enough of his own whiskey to agree to box me, I would break my own toe without a hammer the day before the fight to prove he's a pussy." The American gangster dropped the bombshell allegation about Conor McGregor, calling bullshit on Conor's claim that an injury forced him to back out of his fight against Michael Chandler. Chael and Daniel Cormier were discussing how both Conor and Michael have a history of promoting alcohol products. And while Chael didn't mention the former champ's name directly, it's clear that's who he was talking about. What incredible irony that both sides have these massive interests in alcohol, and one side is in the middle of rehab for substance abuse, including alcohol. DC then claimed he didn't hear what Chael said, so he dropped even more obvious hints, even referencing Conor's proper 12 whiskey. "Have this proper drink," Chael added. "I'll see you in a proper while, because I'm in a proper facility right now watching me not have drinks." Earlier in the show, Chael also said people around Conor have been sworn to secrecy about the real reason behind pulling out of the fight. and he would feel bad to play along with the injury claim. Colby Covington wasn't impressed with Ian Machado Garry's performance at UFC 303. Garry defeated Michael Page by unanimous decision in Saturday's main card opener at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, leaning on his grappling to get his hand raised and stay undefeated. Garry was able to threaten venom with a rear naked choke early and comfortably won round 1. Page rallied to outstrike Garry in round 2, but round 3 was a close back-and-forth round with both fighters having control time on the ground. Covington thinks it was a weak showing from Ireland's Garry, and he is of the belief that MVP should have won. He's fighting cans from the Indian casino leagues, Covington told Submission Radio. Oh, big deal. Anybody could be 15-0 fighting a bunch of bums. Even Dana White himself said what he thought of the performance. He thought it was a draw. He didn't think there should have been a winner. I feel bad for the fans. The fans got robbed of a pay-per-view opener that's supposed to be the opener for pay-per-view. That was pathetic. That guy's fighting the number 14 guy in the world and barely scraping by. I think he lost the fight, so I feel bad for the fans. They got robbed, but it just shows how much of a bum he is. Ian Machado Garry recalls sparring session with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Following his win over Michael "Venom" Page this past Saturday at UFC 300, Ian Machado Garry called out Shavkat Rakhmonov, who took to social media to remind the Irishman of their previous sparring sessions. I did see his comments and I don't know what he's talking about. There was one sparring session I remember. We were tippy-tapping. We had a fight on the same night. It was when he fought Jeff Neal and I fought Keenan Song, and Henry Hooft came over to me and goes, "I understand you two are both competitors. I understand you both have a fight. Both of you are on the same team. Go light. I want you to just touch each other, keep active, and give each other good looks." We sat down and we were playing around. We were moving each other, being good training partners, and I threw a right body kick and he caught it, stepped back, and he looked at me and he went boom to the ribs. I was like, "You fucking dirty cunt." He took the wind out of my ribs. I was like, "I'm gonna get you back," the Irishman revealed. I know for a fact, if this fight's on the feet, I'm the one with the advantage. When it comes to grappling, he absolutely had the grappling advantage over me when we trained. He was a far superior grappler, Machado Garry admitted. Since then, Machado Garry's work at Shootbox has been heavily grappling-focused, and he has been training with the likes of Charles Oliveira and Demian Maia, making the potential fight between him and Rakhmonov extremely intriguing. Who do you think would win the fight between Garry and Rakhmonov? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for daily mixed martial arts news.